These guava cheesecake bars have a creamy, decadent Hawaiian flair, and best of all, it's an easy recipe. Just a few ingredients and you've got yourself a perfect dessert to share with family and friends. I'll teach you how, so stick around. Aloha mai kako, my name is Relle and welcome to my kitchen where I like to share all my favorite Hawaiian and local recipes. And today we'll be making some guava cheesecake bars. Super yummy, I'm a huge fan of cheesecake and these are in bar form, so it's perfect for potlucks and family get-togethers. And it has a little bit of Hawaiian flavor in there with some guava. So let's get started. I'd like to mahalo Foodland Hawaii for sponsoring this video. As always, thoughts and opinions are my own. First, we're gonna wanna make the crust, and that's where these come in. These are Maika'i organic cream cookies in the vanilla flavor. They do have a chocolate one. I don't know if you would wanna use chocolate and guava. If you really want to, by all means you can. But you can get this at your local Foodland in the cracker cookie aisle. So we'll be using this for the crust. So I already took some cookies out, so we don't have to open that box. And they look like this. And so they're little cream cookies with fillings in it. Super yummy. They're organic, so that's nice. You'll need a food processor. Now my food processor is a little small, so we're gonna have to do these in 2 separate batches. Actually, let me show you something first. You're gonna wanna get either an 8x8 or a 9x9. If it's 8x8, your cheesecake bars will be a little bit thicker. 9x9 will be a little bit thinner. That's all. You'll get 8x8, 9x9. This is a 9x9. So what you're gonna do is take some parchment paper. Now, you don't have to do this, but this helps you get it out very easily at the end. And I'll show you a trick to make your parchment paper fit perfectly. You're gonna cut to the corner on 2 sides. So this way you're gonna cut one. I can't really cut that way, but I'll show you what I did. And it doesn't need to be perfect. So you're gonna cut to the corner like that, so you take off this piece. I'm gonna do it to the other 3 sides and I'll show you how to put it in after, okay? So hold on. If you don't have parchment paper, you can use foil if you want, or just spray it really good with non-stick cooking spray. That always works too. Okay, so then you have this sort of shape here. So I do like to use a little bit of non-stick cooking spray that just helps it stick down so it doesn't slide around, and you don't really need much. Just kind of acts like a glue. Okay. And then same way, you're just gonna slip that in and you're gonna push it down. And that piece that you cut off on the sides will come up to where the corner is, like this. I don't know if you can see. And you have a nice, perfect thing. So when it comes time to take it out, all you have to do is lift it like that and it helps so much. Now back to making the crust, sorry. So I'll probably do 1 roll first. So into the food processor, we're gonna take half of our cookies. I think there's 24 in here and half fits pretty well. And you're gonna pulse that until it gets to a sand consistency. I like to cover the top so you don't get cookies all over the place. And then a little bit of butter. Put half of the butter in now and you'll save the other half for the rest. So mine has an attachment, the chute here, and you can just pour it right down in. Melted butter. Salted or unsalted, I guess it doesn't really matter. I always have unsalted butter on hand. If you have salted, it's fine. If you want a little more salt, you can add a little, but usually it's okay. All right, so that's the crust. When it's done, it'll look like this. So these big pieces, if anything, you can take them out and throw it in with the next batch, or you can keep pulsing this one, totally up to you. And you're gonna go ahead and pour that into the pan. And I'm just gonna pulse up the other half of the cookies and we'll be right back and I'll show you how they do the next part, okay? All right, we're back. I pulsed up the rest of the cookies, poured it in. So now we wanna make the crust. So what you're gonna do, you can use your hands. I washed my hands before this, don't worry about it. Or you can use heavy glass or anything like that. My hand works perfectly fine. So all you're gonna do is spread it out. And you're gonna wanna pat it down. You wanna pat it down pretty good because you don't want it to fall apart. And if you find one side is a little bit higher, you can kind of just shift it over. And all you wanna do is make sure that it's even throughout, and this makes the crust. Super yummy. That cream filling adds a lot of flavor to it as well. and the butter helps hold it all together. I've preheated my oven to 325 degrees, and you're gonna put this in there for just about 10 minutes to help it set and like par bake it. So just to get it a little bit baked before we put the cheesecake filling in. So we'll put that in, we'll get that started, and then we'll make the cheesecake while this bakes. All right, now that we have the crust baking, we can work on the cream cheese filling while that's going. The key to creamy, smooth cheesecake is room temperature ingredients. So you'll wanna have left out your cream cheese and your eggs just for a couple hours so it's a little bit warmer, cooler. Warmer doesn't sound great when you say warm cream cheese, right? But trust me, it blends so much better like that. So you'll need 2 blocks, 8 ounces each, so 16 ounces if you have a big container. Do you need a stand mixer? No, you can use a hand mixer, or you can mix by hand. It's just a lot harder. Invest in one of these. I'll link the one I have in the description box below. It's probably the best Christmas gift I got ever. My mom bought it for me. Was it Christmas or birthday? She got it for me for one of those, and I use it all the time. So it's pretty awesome. Now, these are cheesecake bars. They're not cheesecake itself, which makes it more like portable and shareable, I feel like. Shareable, is that a word? Sure. In Hawaii, we do a lot of potlucks and get-togethers and family things. So when they're in bar form, it's easier to share. I don't know, I like to make them in bars. So cream cheese goes in. You'll need some granulated sugar. Actually, scratch that. Let's mix this slightly before keep jumping the gun. So paddle attachment, lift the bowl, and we'll mix that for a little bit. Just to get it mixed just slightly. Then you'll take your granulated sugar and you'll go ahead and add that to the bowl here. Just dump the whole thing on in there, and you're gonna wanna mix this. Just until it's incorporated. Let me get, hold on real quick. A spatula, calamai. I always do that. You wanna be sure that you use the spatula to scrape down the sides before we do this next part. So you wanna scrape down the sides just so that everything gets well incorporated. When you use bowls like this, it often flies up the sides and gets stuck. So now we'll add a little bit of vanilla extract. This is homemade. If you wanna be adventurous and make your own, you can check out this recipe here. I'll link it in the description box as well. Or you can buy the store-bought one. But make sure you buy vanilla extract and not the imitation stuff. Get the good stuff. It is a little bit more, but it's worth it. Now, we're gonna wanna add the eggs one at a time. It'll help incorporate better, and these are room temp. So crack it into another bowl first, because I always say if you get a yucky egg, you'll ruin the whole batter if you put it in. So 1 egg goes in, and then you're gonna mix that up. So let's get that going. Once that's pretty well incorporated, we can do the next egg and mix that up. And now that it's incorporated, remember, don't forget, spatula, scrape down the sides like this. And even the paddle attachment itself, if you look, there's some like that. Just scrape off a couple of those extra like chunks on there. And that'll just help to get it really, really smooth. So scrape it off like that. And we'll just give it one last mix to get a couple of those pieces in, and then we'll be good to go on that part. Alrighty. The crust has about 15 seconds left, so perfect timing. And this is what the cream cheese or cheesecake batter will look like this. So we'll take the crust out, let it cool slightly. And by slightly, I just mean give it a couple of minutes when you take it out. It's done. I'll be right back. We'll get the crust and I'll show you how to do the next part. All right, the crust is out of the oven. It's cooled slightly, just warm to the touch is good enough. Enough that you can put your hand on it and not be like, it's so hot. So then this is the cream cheese mixture or cheesecake batter that we made. And we're gonna pour this over the top. I try to spread it out just a little so I don't need to work so hard spreading it out with the spatula. And I like using the spatula to make sure I get every last drop. Okay. Now we'll take the spatula and just evenly spread it out. And I kind of do like a tapping push motion, kind of like this, to get it to spread. And what that does is help not scoop up all of the crust that we just made, and helps it kind of settle over. And then now we'll go ahead and take guava. Now guava is a big part of Hawaiian culture. Flavors, Hawaiian flavors. So tropical fruits obviously are common here. Guava grows very well up country Maui, where I was born and raised, and so much so that oftentimes people will call you a guava if you live up country. Like, especially in my mom's time, like she went to school in town, so it was blended. Now it's like if you live up country, you go to school up country, but when it was blended, she said everybody always called them guavas, which I don't mind. So this is guava jam. You can use homemade one, you can make it. I have a recipe for it up here if you want, or you can buy store-bought. Jam is pretty thick. Now, if it's too thick for you, you can put it in the microwave for like 15, 30 seconds to kind of thin it out. But I'll show you what we're gonna do. We'll take a little bit and we're just gonna dollop it in like that. And then we're gonna give it a nice little swirl. So it'll have this swirled effect. The other thing you could do is mix this in with, like, reserve a little bit of the cheesecake and mix it in and do it like that. And but I like the swirled look. So I usually just go like plop it around. It doesn't have to be any particular spot. Okie dokie. And then take a knife, a chopstick, whatever, and you're just gonna make swirl designs like this. So you're just gonna take it, and I totally covered that one up. So don't do what I just did. You're gonna keep it on the top and kind of swirl it like this, so that it spreads evenly through. And I think what happened is I zapped this one and it sat out while we were doing it, so it kind of hardened a little bit. So it's not as nice of a swirl as I would have liked it. If it was thinner, oh, there, you can kind of see it now. If it was thinner, it would incorporate a little bit better and you would be able to see the swirl. So because it thickened up like this on me, you can't see the swirl as much. So here to say, I'm not perfect and it's okay. You know, it'll change the look a little, but it still tastes super good. So because the swirl is, you know, a little bit lighter here, that's okay. You can kind of get it to kick back up if you angle your knife a little. All right, you're gonna put this in the oven and you're gonna bake it at 325. You already have it preheated earlier from the crust, and you're gonna bake it for 40 to 45 minutes or until golden on the top, and the internal temperature is about 180, 190. So let's put this in and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. After it comes out of the oven, you're gonna let it cool. Once it's cooled down, you'll put it in the fridge and leave it there for a few hours, overnight ideally. We're not gonna make you sit and wait for that, and I actually made one earlier. It's already cooled down in the fridge, so see how I made these? That'll help us get it out a lot easier. And as you can see, the swirls on this one's a little bit better. This is an 8x8 pan. The other one was a 9x9, so you'll see a little bit of difference in the thickness in this one. So then all you have to do is give it a little shimmy to just get out, and literally it comes out like in one piece. So it's super nice. So take that out. And you're gonna place it on your cutting board like this, and all you have to do is peel back the sides. Oh, it smells so good, looks so good. 8x8 pan, I usually just go half, 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 and you'll end up with 16. I had to think. Butter knife, regular knife, totally up to you. So I like to hold the parchment paper. That'll kind of help. So the trick to keeping it nice, we'll see. It comes out so nicely that it slides. And then once you get the knife in, you can put your backhand behind to help it stop from going. So once you do this slice, if we're trying to keep it pretty, you're gonna wanna wipe the knife. So let me get a napkin, because if you cut, now all of these crumbles will end up on top of there. So let me grab a napkin real quick. I'm very tempted to just eat this, but can't do that because you still have to cut the rest of it. So same thing, you'll kind of hold this side till you get that first cut really in there and going, and then you can hold the back so it doesn't slide off. You could slide off the parchment paper before you cut as well. That probably would make it a little bit easier. And that's how you make guava cheesecake bars. If you like this recipe and you want other local desserts, then check out this video here. And until next time, ahui ho!